So word on the block is that Game Pass is not the best value in gaming. But why is that though? We'll get into the video. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's that guy Ken back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how Game Pass is just not the best value in gaming. Woo! Now that's a big statement to make, but I'm going to explain to you why I think that's the case, right? But before we even get into any of the details about Game Pass, we need to preface this video by understanding what value even is, because it seems to be that everybody has their own definition of what value is, and we just need to have a stable, clear understanding of what it is, right? So now, what is value? Basically, when you think of value is not something that can be dictated by a company, essentially, right? So value is something that is dictated by the consumer. So the company can put out whatever product that they want or whatever the case is, right? But if people are not going to buy it, right, you can't say that that particular item has value if people don't see the value in the product. You know what I mean? So you can't say that something is the best value when people are not buying it, right? So now to talk about Game Pass, right? A lot of people seem to think that Game Pass is the best value in gaming. Now, why is it that people are saying that? The reason why most people are saying that Game Pass is the best value in gaming is because of the fact that it has the day and date games, right? Both first party and third party whenever they have third party games that come into the service, right? And I actually thought about this for a while, because for a while I thought the same thing. I was like, you know what, man? That is something that would, I guess give it a leg up in terms of offering value that other platforms don't have, essentially, right? But it's interesting because we've been getting a lot of information recently about Game Pass and just Xbox in general, and how they're just not doing well in general at all. We got the quarterly revenue information a couple months ago, and we just learned last month, right, that not only Game Pass is declining in terms of its subscriber counts or whatever, it's slowing down significantly, especially on the console side, right? The freaking Xboxes are not selling as well, and all of this other stuff. A lot of factors are just declining, right? Specifically Game Pass, right? Which is what we're going to focus on here. But a lot of aspects of the brand are declining right now, right? And you would think if Game Pass, especially with their day and date offerings, right, if it was the best value in gaming, there should be no reason, for the most part, right, as to why these parts of the brand are declining, right? And you hear a lot of people, right? You hear a lot of people say things like, oh, Game Pass is declining because, they didn't have enough exclusive content, which is not true, right? Because they've had plenty of content, third party and first and second, third party, all that stuff, right? That came into the service over the last couple of years, so that's not true. And then you hear people who say things like, their goals were too ambitious, which is also not true, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Because when you think about it, right, Game Pass came out in 2017, right? That was the same year that the Nintendo Switch came out, right? About 6 years ago. Since the launch of the Switch, over 120 million people spent over $300 to get access to the Switch, right? The Nintendo Switch had their online service that came out in 2020, right? Over 30 million people, right, have gotten into the service ever since it launched, right? The PS5 came out in 2020 as well. And ever since the launch of the PS5, over 32 million people have paid $600 at most, $600, if not more, during the pandemic, and bots and stuff like that, scalpers, over $600 to get access to the system over spending $1 to $15 to getting access to Game Pass, right? Now, why is all of this significant? Because apparently people do not see the value in the products that Microsoft is offering, right? It doesn't even matter the fact that they have day and date, because obviously there's always going to be some subjectivity to it, because people are going to, like products and some people aren't going to like products, or whatever the case is, right? But you simply can't say that Game Pass offers the best value in gaming, right? When you see people who, and it makes it even worse when Game Pass is so cheap and the barrier of entry is so low, and there's so many different products and devices that you can get access to it, that a lot of people are just not buying the products. They're going elsewhere. So it does not make any sense, right, when people say it's the best value in gaming, when other people see more value in spending significantly more money to get access to other products other than Game Pass, right? So clearly this whole thing about day and date is not driving people, at least enough people, to go into the service, right? Now, they try to argue this point all of the time, and it's clear that the type of games that they have are just not what people want, at least not for the audience that we're kind of like operating within, because we know that a lot of games that are in Game Pass are PC centric and stuff like that, doesn't speak to the console market, whatever, right? And people just don't want to admit that. And I think a lot of people know this. I think a lot of people understand, especially the ambassadors of the service and stuff like that, who are always, championing it and all that stuff, right? I think they understand that a lot of these games are not like mainstream games, right? But they have platforms to uphold and things like that. So they're never really going to tell you the truth about, a lot of these products just not being what people want. You know what I'm saying? So, and it makes it worse too when you even consider the fact that there was some more information that came out about how about 30% of the people who got into the PS5 this generation were people that were new. They came from somewhere outside of the PlayStation ecosystem, that were not a part of the people who were there during the PS4 generation, right? So they could have come from Nintendo, they could have come from mobile, they could have come from Xbox and PC, but we know that 30% of those people were not in the PS4 generation, right? So if you do the math roughly, right, that's about what, 8-9 million people out of 32 million, right? 30% roughly. That is 30% of people, right? 8, 9, 10 million people who Microsoft could have enticed, because they were people that came from outside of the ecosystem that Microsoft could have enticed with their games, but they didn't. Especially considering the fact that their, like I said, their barrier of entry is so low. So this is what Game Pass is, right? Because it's not the best value in gaming, because clearly a lot of people are not seeing the value in purchasing it, and Microsoft's goals are not too ambitious, and it's not for a lack of content. It's because people just don't want it, and it is what it is, right? So considering all of those factors, Game Pass is a good deal. It is. Nobody is arguing that Game Pass doesn't offer value, because it does, right? But the question is how much value? Especially considering its competitors and stuff like that, right? It's definitely not the best, and I was going to say that it was the best deal, but I can't even say that it's the best deal, because when you look at its competitors like PlayStation Plus, especially ever since they revamped the service with the tiered system, PlayStation Plus basically it fundamentally offers everything that Game Pass offers as well, in terms of day and date. Even though it's not first party, they have SIE titles and other third-party titles and stuff like that they have in the service. The reward system, cloud streaming, backwards compatibility, streaming, and all of that stuff, right? Legacy titles. They have all monthly titles, online compatibility. Online access and stuff like that, right? So PlayStation Plus is definitely comparable in comparison to Game Pass, right? And on top of that, it literally has double the amount of titles and content than what Game Pass offers. So it's hard for me to say that Game Pass is the best deal, because it's not. It's a good deal. Actually, I'll even say it's a great deal. especially with some of these third-party games that are coming out and stuff like that. But like I said, there's always going to be some subjectivity to the service on whether or not people are going to want the titles or not. But clearly, just the simple fact that it's day and date does not automatically make the service the best value in gaming if people are not buying it, right? But other than that, guys, that's pretty much all I had to say in this video. I don't really have anything else to say. If you like the video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.